Good morning, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a pleasure to welcome you to Lithuania, to Vilnius, and to this beautiful place, headquarters of Teltonika. We are 17 countries represented here in this hall, and I'm really looking forward for during these 2 days of Adizes' 15th annual convention, you would be able really to get new friends, new colleagues. You would be able to learn something which would make your organizations stronger, more healthy, which is what our methodology is about. Adizes' methodology making organization healthy, stronger, and because of that, not only organizations themselves are stronger, but also the country becoming stronger. And with these words, it's a very natural, but I would like to give a floor for the opening speech to the person who really takes care about strength of the country. And let me say a few words about that person, and you would be able to read more, of course. But this person graduated from U.S. Military Academy at West Point with his bachelor degree, and then he got his master degree from Georgetown University School of Foreign Service in Washington, and then his MBA was in one of the also best universities in the United States, in Columbia University Business School, and he served as a vice president of corporate banking in Citigroup, and he also been, Lithuanian people know that, Deputy Minister of Defense of Lithuania, and also he's been for a number of years the Assistant Secretary General for Executive Management of NATO. So very broad experiences, and this is the right person to open the conference, which is dedicated to make any type of organization stronger, to making countries stronger. So please welcome Mr. Giedrimas Jeglinskas, Member of Parliament, and also Chairman of its Committee of National Security and Defense. Please.
Hi, hello, hi. I have a microphone. It feels like I have to sing here, but I better not. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for these kind words of introduction. So, I've, when I found out I'll be here standing on the stage and talking to the people who really care about management and leadership, I really felt I need to prepare a bit more. And I can't just come up and say, congratulations, good job, continue what you're doing. So I have some thoughts, I would say, some from experiences, maybe connecting to what we're trying to do currently both in the government, but also in the private sector with regards to national security. So I think, well, first of all, I want to say something that we all know, the world is changing. We're witnessing it every day. There are wars, there's geopolitical perturbations, there are technological acceleration, there are, there's rise of AI, you name it. There's a lot of change going on. Now, this change needs to be led and needs to be managed. And this is why, institutions need to be strong, and those institutions need to have leaders. I think now, in the way that, Adizes' work is, and again, I've read about it, I've kind of researched a little bit what the Adizes Institute has done, is really connects really to these trends, to these traits such as leadership, management, change management, and that's absolutely crucial. So two things I wanted to kind of bring up in my little opening speech. First is I would call it a management challenge for Adizes community, and the second thing is really about leadership traits, really classical kind of timeless leadership traits. So first, I would say, I think in the past, I don't know how many decades now, almost 100 years, we've seen the rise of the kind of so-called managerial class. I think we're taught that way. I know, Doctor, we're at Columbia Business School, and we taught competence matters, merits matter, knowledge matters. This is super important, and I think the way institutions have been built and they've been functioning, whether in government or private sector, is that we hire the best. We want to because we need to outcompete others. We need to, this is a globalized world now, and we've entered that world as a country in the 1990s. To compete in this world, we need the best people. We need to study hard, do your homework, network a lot, learn the languages, learn how to do business, and we'll be successful. I think that, yes, that's absolutely true, but also one trend has really been encroaching upon this trend. I would call it potentially a threat, but also something that's somewhat inevitable. That's really a backlash, called the backlash to the Davos elite. The backlash against, well, I call it anti-managerialism almost, where the people who come to power, then they want to change, they want to enact fundamental change, and they understand that the deep state is in there, that's really forcing them not to do that change. And I think we've seen this in quite a few countries. I think it's gathering pace, and the challenge now is how do we manage that merit-based competency approach with political will, with politics of really everything, politics, whether it's in the government or in private sector. When we're trying to enact change, I think if you come as a political leader, I think that you can view deep state or the bureaucracy, the institutions, as something that of a help for you. It's something you can utilize, or as we've seen, that we can just cut off certain things. You cut management. You say no, managerialism is bad, and that's really a dangerous trend. So the challenge, I think, for the Adizes community and many other management consultancies is how do we balance that? How do we come out of this period where we're able to not to break the system, but also ensure that change happens, that fundamental change happens, because obviously people want change. That's why people vote for change. So that's one thing. Now the second thing is something that I've had experience in for many decades, and I've been educated in all these institutions that Virginijus has very kindly mentioned, and it's really about leadership. And I think that no matter how turbulent the world is, leadership matters. And if you are as people who help institutions manage these leaders and help them grow as leaders, I think that's an incredible part in what you're doing. So in terms of leadership, I think there are really three important things that I would like to mention. And this I've been taught again in these character-forming institutions and something from leadership experience, but it's really just my thoughts. So leadership is about people at the end of the day. That's all it is. It's people. It's about how we talk to people, how we engage with people, and if we think something a lot more complicated is probably yes, to a degree potentially yes, but really it is about people. And when I was graduating military academy, our superintendent of the academy, General, now I know his name, William Lennox, and he said, you know what? Now you're stepping into a leadership role, and really there's two things you need to do. Two things as a young lieutenant or platoon leader is accomplish the mission and take care of your people. That's so simple. And I think, if we just sit down into these sort of fundamental tenets, I think that's what leadership is all about. Leadership is also about vision. We want to have, without vision, transformations don't happen, change management doesn't happen. I think in politics, without a clear vision, you're going nowhere. You don't know where to go. You have you're blind. You're blind leading the blind. So the vision is it's super important. Now, the third element is character, and something that's we don't never talk about. I've never heard it talk in Lithuanian circles about character. Leadership is character, and character that means doing the right thing when no one's watching. Means that you adhere as a leader to the same standards as the rest of us. That you really are serving the people. So I think these are fundamental kind of leadership tenets that I think are important even in this turbulent world, even in this sort of volatile geopolitical environment that we're in. I think this is what we want from our leaders. We almost never get it, of course, because once you step in a political position, you're always failure because people watch you, and it's just it's a circle. But so with that, I just want to say, what you're doing is extremely important. I think we need to make our institutions great. We need to make our country great again. Oh, we are great, actually. We are a great country, but it sounds good, right? It sounds good. We'll be great, we'll even greater, right? I think we need to make the West again. I was in D.C. yesterday, and in Washington D.C. yesterday, I think, and yeah, the vibe is, let's not just make America great, let's make West again. Let's make West great again. So we're part of the West. We're part of that culture. So leadership matters, institutions matter, and again, it means your job is extremely important. Not to put pressure on you, but really, again, thank you so much for what you're doing, and thank you for, again, having me in this wonderful gathering. Thank you.